Getting into the last part of our conversation here, which is obviously, such a big part of both our lives.
Are people actually going to sit and watch 3 hours of this?
Yeah, they 100% will.
I hope so, because this is, I have to say, this is the meat and potatoes of it all. And before we begin, I promised Roseanne's mom's dad that I would tell her story, and he told me, he said, I want you to call it Back from the Dark.
All right.
And this is my way of fulfilling that promise.
Beautiful.
So the first thing before we start, because I don't want to forget to say it, thank you.
You're welcome.
First for being my son, and just all the shit you didn't put me through, I thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I know guys that are pulling their fucking, that went bald because their sons drove them nuts.
Sure.
You never did, and just a great man you grew into.
Well, I appreciate it, and you obviously helped that.
And once in a while, I'm going to be on, and it's going to be called the Great American Underdog Window of Wisdom. And the window of wisdom is nothing more than a window in my dining room that overlooks my pond area. Yeah. And Ron and his friends would be sitting, and I'd be having a meal at the table, and I'd hear them say something, and I just felt that I was compelled to intervene with a little constructive verbiage of my own. So I'd open the window, and one of his friends made it and called it the window of wisdom, because I would open it and hold it.
Shout out to Miguel Cruz, to Lord Flacco.
Miguel, the window of wisdom is speaking.
Amen.
And kind of like Oz, they used to treat me like the Wizard of Oz.
So now, now I'm gonna have a segment that'll just be for that, with like different phrases that you've done. It'll be like a little commercial. It'll be the window of wisdom, like a commercial.
How about like the window of wisdom's thoughts of the day?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. That'd be great.
So anyway, let's talk about Mom, and we're in Florida now at this point. A year and a half old. Jeanette's turning 3.
Jeanette is 3. You're 1. You're a year and a half. You
have Ron's handy home improvement, and now all of a sudden, Mom hits her head, putting me in a car seat. Take me from there.
Here's what happened. My mother was visiting. Now, Mom doesn't. She doesn't tell me about hitting her head. Yeah. Well, she does. I'm sorry. She says, I bumped my head. I was taking Ron. When you have a car and you have a car seat and you're used to your car, many people, I'm sure, have gotten in their cars and went to slide in and hit the side of your head on the roof line as you're getting in. Sure. But once you realize where that zone
your muscle memory takes
you avoid it. Well, this is a rented car my father-in-law had. He brings it. We have a car seat in the back, and my wife is reaching in, taking Ron out of the car seat. She hits her head. Well, a couple of days go by, she goes, Ron, my head over here is killing me. I don't know, and I feel nauseous. Now, I happen to know from the Army, many things. Even being a Boy Scout, I was a Boy Scout when I was a kid. Still remember my Scout oath.
Yes, you do.
And I remember nausea after a bump on the head is concussion. It's not a good thing. Yeah. But you dismiss it because you bang your head taking the Ajax from the sink. You don't think about it. So I'm not really thinking anything's really wrong until one night she comes out and her hand is stuck and her right side of her face is hanging. She's 23 years old. Ron. I give her a little wine to calm her down. I call the paramedics. The paramedics show up. They take her vitals, and for some reason it had passed, whatever it was. And they said, she seems to be fine. I said, I don't care what she is right now. I know what I saw. I want her in the back of your ambulance, and I want her in the hospital for observation right now. So we go. Okay, what happened? Well, I was this, I was that. I banged my head, taking my son out of the car seat. Boom. Anyway, so
You don't think nothing of that?
you really don't.
No.
I mean, you do for a moment, but
Yeah. Bruise a little bit and it goes away. But this wasn't going away; it was lingering.
Yeah, she started writing backwards.
Oh wow!
She started writing completely backwards.
Whoa!
And saying things that were not coherent.
Yeah.
And so they said, look, we're going to take an MRI and a CAT scan to be safe.
Sure.
Well, all of a sudden, I'm surrounded, Mom and we're in the emergency room. How long ago did you hit your head? Where was it you hit your head? How hard did you hit your head? I said, what's going on? I have a doctor, pauses, he goes, look, your wife has a mass in her head the size of a lemon. She has a bleed in the brain, and we're not sure what this is. I was just frozen. Your mom is sitting there with her jaw hanging open.
And there's multiple doctors in the room that surround you guys.
There had to be
9.
15 doctors.
Yeah.
Because now you got the doctors, and then you got the people who are learning, following them around, doing their rounds. Now everybody wants to know what happened to this girl.
Because there's a case that doesn't happen normally.
No, right. It's not common.
No.
So, okay, they put her in for observation. We don't leave the hospital. She goes in. They're starting to do testing. They're doing all sorts of tests. Long story short, Mom was in the hospital for almost 2 months. Various different doctors.
Wow.
The total conclusion finally comes.
In Florida.
We're in Florida. They pull me in a room and they tell me, look, we believe, because I kept wanting them, what is this? Is it bad? Is it not bad? Do you think it's bad? What do we have to do to distinguish whether it is or it isn't?
Yeah.
Well, look, let me explain it to you this way. We believe, based on the films, based on the tests, all the tests, short of cutting a window, by window you mean cutting a hole in her head? Let's call it what it is. Yes, a hole in her head, 3x3 hole.
Wow.
So, short of doing that, you're telling me what? We believe she has a glioblastoma. This is what it's presenting itself to be on film.
Which is what?
Wait, so I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
So I said, so what do we do about it?
Yeah.
Now there's silence. Now, while they have the pictures of Mom's CAT scan and x-ray on the board, and we're looking, there's a window over there. I'm looking on the board here. I have 4 or 5 doctors in front of me. And I see Mom through the window. She's going,
Oh.
And I went, so I said, well, what is that exactly? Well, it's a rapidly growing malignant brain tumor that grows from the size of a pea to an apple a year. Some people 15 months, some people 7 months.
Yeah.
She's got the size of a lemon. He says, you should make her comfortable. She probably has 6 months to a year left.
Wow.
If it's a glioblastoma. I said, are you telling me my wife's gonna, if it is that, it will kill her. If it has to come out. So they wanted to do surgery on Mom. They wanted to take this thing out of her head. I'm living in, well, not yet. I'm living like a gypsy, running back and forth to the house.
Of course.
Babysitters are taking care of you and your sister.
Right.
Getting all the help we could from friends and whoever we knew.
Right.
I'm running out of money because I can't go to work because I'm spending all day long in the hospital. Now I take pictures, I send them to Yale, Harvard, and Princeton. I want feedback. I drive to Miami.
So you searched out their information, all these
I'm
colleges?
trying to back double check what they're telling me.
Yeah.
And do I get any optimistic?
But the reason I say that specifically was back then you couldn't just look at the internet and find a contact at these universities.
No.
So you had to
back
dig.
then the internet went.
Yeah. Well, you had to dig for this information.
Yeah. I didn't really have to dig. The doctors that I sent it.
Understood.
I want feedback. Can you please tell me this is very utmost urgency? We concur with the findings. We'd like to give you better, but we concur. But again, we're basing it on the pictures we're seeing. You can't always be sure until you make a window and actually go in. A glioblastoma usually has this distinct blood ring, a red circle around the mass.
All right.
Whether it's an encapsulate, whatever it is, it's very, very unique to itself.
Yeah.
I'm in the chapel, which was next to the emergency room. Sal Kumela, Jasper's brother, says, "Did you ever do a novena?" I didn't even know what a novena was. That's a prayer you say for 9 days, for those of you who don't know. And it's a prayer to St. Jude, who is the patron saint of hopeless cases, things despaired of, given up on.
Yeah.
So I said no. But when you're desperate for someone's life, there are no boundaries. So I give the kids their bath at night. I put them to bed. I put the card up on the bathroom sink and I kneel and I pray. And it's a prayer to St. Jude to whisper in Jesus' ear how desperately you need his help. You can talk to Jesus, but some people have the concept that he's very, very busy. And there are certain close saints to Jesus that let him in.
Yeah, like they can get an ear in
for
there.
lack of a better way to explain it.
Right.
So St. Jude is supposed to be one of them who can get close and whisper, "Listen, I got a really special case here. We need your intervention." So at least this is the way it's suggested to be.
Right.
You say the prayer for 9 days. And in the prayer, it says, please St. Jude, please watch over this person, so-and-so, and here make your request, what you're asking him to ask God, what you want from Jesus to intervene. And my prayer, and I'm not trying to look like a martyr or anything, but my honest to God prayer was, if you need help, if you need a soldier, I will come and work for you. She's 23, leave her alone. I will come instead. Don't take her from my children, because I never had a father.
Yeah.
I knew only my mother.
Yeah.
The thought of your mom leaving the two of you, not that she's leaving you with me, I would do all my good.
But just not having the motherly
not having
element.
your mom resonated with me because I'm expendable. I'm just a dad. Moms are not. This was my feeling. I'll go. If you leave her alone, I won't complain. I won't say goodbye. Just take me.
Right.
I'll come. Please, God.
Right.
And I'm sobbing, crying my eyes out. I'm in the chapel one evening, and I went and I got a bunch of St. Jude cards. And I felt like I cried all day long for 2 months, every day. I went from 200 pounds to about 165 pounds.
Wow.
In 2 months. I'm sick. I mean, here's a young, beautiful girl, everything in the world to live for, and you can't do this. I mean, I understand they're St. Jude, little kids get sick. I don't want to hear it all. I don't want her to go. She shouldn't be. You know it, I know it. I'll come. Leave her alone.
Yeah, that's your prayer.
I don't want to know nothing else.
Over and over again.
I don't want to settle for anything else. I don't want to hear anything else. I leave her alone.
Yep.
There's too many fucking miserable bad people walking around. Go take one of them.
Yeah, take the evil off.
That don't appreciate life.
Right.
So, with this, and I'm angry at the same time.
Right.
And I'm crying in the chapel, and a guy sticks his head out from the radiology department. Mr. Marvo, come here, man. I go in. He goes, listen to me. The radiology department is the department that informs the doctors on our findings or what we believe is going on with a particular patient.
Right.
So I've already told them what I think it could be. But I see you in the chapel. You're here every day. And I see you. He says, so just hold on a minute. Calls his wife and says, honey, I'm going to be a little late for dinner. I have something I need to take care of. He shoves the pictures up on the wall, on the back lid.
Yeah, the display thing, yeah.
And he goes, and then he opens a couple of books. He goes, this is a glioblastoma.
Keep going.
This is a very distinct picture. He goes, look up there.
Hey, that was like
It looks like what your wife has. He goes, well, I want to show you something else. This patient, he says, now I want you to understand something. I'm showing you people. I can lose not only my job, my career will be over. My career will be over.
That's correct.
But I feel compelled to talk to you and show you something. I want to give you a little hope. I said, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
He shows me photos. I said, also glioblastomas? He goes, no. These were called arteriovenous malformations. What is that? He goes, it's kind of like a varicose vein, or if you ever had a tire tube and you blew it up and a bubble formed on the side, a weak wall.
A weak blood vessel.
He says that's what it is.
Oh.
And it broke. And the blood surrounding it, there's a long shot that it might be an AVM that just leaked and it looks like a glioblastoma. I've had a couple of cases like that. Rare, but they have happened.
It's already rare enough.
He says, I know you're going to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you talking. He said, carry that with you. I said, you will be the first person I call when I get a definitive answer.
Right.
Now, I go to the doctors that are taking care of Mom. I said, who do you know in New York? Anyone worth their salt will be in this book.
So this conversation, the book conversation that I know, happens in Florida.
It does.
Oh, I thought it happened when you got to New York.
Happened in Florida.
Okay.
He says, so Mom, we go to Manhattan, New York City, and we pick names.
He gave you the book?
5 names to look through.
He brought you to bring with you? Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not to bring with me.
Okay.
No. It's one of those books. It's just
okay.
Forget about how expensive it must be. Everyone, like the Yellow Pages, that are neurosurgeons all around the country are in this book.
Yeah.
It's like a AAA for doctors.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
So we look, and Mom picks 5 names. Now, Jasper's dad was a surgeon. He helped a lot of people. And he was very loved.
Yes.
He went to school with a doctor named Dr. Solomon. And he was kind enough to tell me, go see him. He's expecting you when you get to New York. Columbia Presbyterian is the leading edge on the Eastern Seaboard for neurological problems. Go see him. Okay. The doctors are pleading with me, don't move her. I said, we're going. My friend Sal, Jasper's brother, Dr. Camella's other son, said, get her out of Florida, Ron. Get her to New York.
Yeah.
Her salvation is not there. It's in New York City. Get her out of there. I said, we're going. We can't fly because the pressure will cause this thing to bleed.
Oh, God.
So they put Mom on an anti-inflammatory steroid called Decadron. Sudden withdrawal from Decadron can kill you.
Whoa.
So you have to be weaned on and weaned off. And what it is, it's a kind of an anti-inflammatory which will keep things shrunk down for the trip. But we have come to the end of our road. Something has to be done. You can't just leave this in your head.
Yeah.
Mom was having seizures.
Already.
She was, kind of like petty mild seizures.
Okay.
Because when it bled, what happens, if I had a hole in the back of your head and I put my finger in and I pressed, the pressure on that area will cause a neurological function to happen.
Correct.
Left hemisphere parietal lobe is where the surgery was.
Right.
Operates the right side of your body. What operates my right hand and your right hand are in that hemisphere, but you may be an eighth up, 16th inch to the front, because everybody's different.
Right.
But in the general area, so what happens is
you want to go head back to New York at this
I
point?
want to head back to New York. We're going. They put her on the steroid. We arrive on Grandma's birthday, August 10th, in New York City.
Wow.
I went into the garage.
1994?
93.
93.
I go into the garage and I get your old crib. I still had it. And I took the crib mattress and I put it in the back seat. I made a deck. And I put all the pillows from the couch. And I took 2.5 days to bring Mom to New York with the car.
Drove, yeah.
So we get to New York City. We're supposed to see Dr. Solomon.
Yes.
I can't get him. We're trying to get these other 3 doctors. They said when you get there, you're going to have about 10 days to 15 days tops, and she's got to be weaned off, and surgery has to happen.
Whoa.
You cannot. So now, we can't spend 3 weeks in New York.
No, the time's up. The time clock is ticking.
It's up.
Yeah.
You're at the end.
It's now.
Time's running out. So we arrive in New York City. My mom tells me, I pull up in front of Grandma's house on 85th Street. She's hanging out the window and she goes, I said, Mom, we're going to come in. Roseanne is tired. Now, I want to make sure I remember certain things. Now, Mom says, Ron, you have to go see Fernando. I said, Ma, I got no time to see Fernando. Fernando was a guy who lived in my building.
Yeah.
And many years ago, he lived on the very first floor. You could lift his window open, climb in, climb out in a matter of 4 minutes.
Yeah.
A couple of kids from the neighborhood went in, stole a stereo, stole a couple of things.
Yeah.
But they didn't know it was the building I took care of.
Uh-huh.
I went looking around and finding out who was fencing the shit, and fencing is trying to sell his stuff in the area. Well, I'm telling them.
Yeah.
So when I found out, I got a big apology. We didn't know you lived there. Okay. Don't ever go back there again. We're sorry. But please, but he's going to have us locked up. We don't want to get locked. I said, nobody's going to lock you up.
You're not getting in trouble.
We're
Just
done.
Don't steal.
Bring everything back and say you're sorry.
No fencing.
So, to bring it back, I said, you got to get your stuff back. Don't. He tells me, now this is years earlier.
Sure.
When I was younger.
Right.
So he says I run upstairs to his apartment. Now, Grandma used to make him something to eat. He was a bachelor. He worked different shifts than me.
Okay.
He would come home. He would bring Grandma a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said his name.
That's okay.
No, it isn't. I shouldn't have said his name because the favor he did me. But he's probably way retired by now, and the statute of limitations ran out. He goes, I want to help you. He goes, I don't know how much help it will be, but it may come in handy. He goes, sign these papers. He sticks $200 in my pocket. I said, what are you doing for that? He goes, I know you spent every dime you had. So he puts a couple of hundred in my shirt pocket.
Right.
Which I never wear shirts with pockets. That day I had a shirt with a pocket.
Sure. Right.
Shoved it in. That alone, like was something the design.
Yeah, divine.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so he goes, meet me tomorrow morning at 68th Street or 67th Street and 4th Avenue. He goes, I'm going to get you a Medicaid card and I'm going to get you food stamps. They may come in handy. Just let me do that.
Just take it, yeah.
Okay. I meet him, I get a Medicaid card, I get food stamps. I gave the $500 in food stamps to my mom. So now, we're in New York City. We're searching out these doctors. This guy, Dr. King wasn't there, another doctor wasn't there. We get an interview with a Dr. Michael Dugali.
Right.
So now, we finally get in to see him, and at the time he was about 55 years old.
Right.
Still steady, but seasoned. He's been in the business, the neurosurgery business for a while.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't know who he is. I know nothing about him. He said, I said, listen, this is what we have. How did you get my name? My wife picked you out of a book in Florida.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally.
That's literally, and I mean literally. He wasn't recommended. The only recommendation I had was Dr. Solomon at Columbia Presbyterian. So, with this, I go, I'm getting hoarse, but it's okay. But
Yeah, take a sip.
just want to...
Yeah, and just to clarify too, you had gone to Dr. Solomon with the names that you got out of the book in Florida, presented them to him, and he pretty much said to you, if there's anybody in here worth their salt, situation.
Here's what happens.
Go.
I'm talking to Dr. Dugali. He says, let me tell you what I would do. I would admit your wife. I'm willing to take your case. He examines mom, looks at all the pictures. He goes, I see the concern. I said, can I talk to you alone for a minute? He goes, no. And this is all happening to her. We're going to talk right in front of her.
That's right.
This is her life. I said, okay. I just didn't want to make her nervous. She's been through a lot. He goes, I understand, but we have to discuss it. Okay. So with that, he explains to us what his plans would be for her.
Right.
He's going to admit her, start the weaning process off the Decadron. He goes, I would do surgery in 5 to 7 days.
Wow.
And then we'll see where we are at that point. Whatever, I can tell you this for a fact. She cannot stay on the Decadron, and this will not go away, and it could potentially kill her. It has to come out.
Yes.
No matter what, it's got to come out. Okay. So now, I said, he says, take a word with your wife, and let me know what you want to do. I said,
Sure.
Roseanne. She goes, what about Dr. Solomon? I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go see him. If Dr. Solomon will take you, I'll yank you out of the hospital. But at least you're in a hospital where they can care for you and watch over you. They'll start weaning you down. I'll talk to Dr. Solomon. If he'll take you, I'll get you, I'll take you out, and we'll go there.
Right.
Ambulance, however we have to do it, we'll get it done. All right. So, all right, Dr. Dugali, we'd like if you would take care of us. Very good. They get mom, they get her in a gown, they get her a bedroom. Fast.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. I leave. I get an appointment to see Dr. Solomon. I make up a story that my in-laws, mom's mother and father,
yes,
have a family member who's a radiologist. They believe he's going to save the day. I need to appease them and show him the most recent MRIs and films. Now, by this time, I got about 50, 60 pounds of CAT scans, MRIs.
I'm sure.
But I want the most recent. And he says, did they ever take an MRA? I said, MRA? You mean MRI? He goes, no, I mean MRA.
Okay.
I said, what is that? He goes, well, you know what an angiogram is? They go through the femoral artery, they go up through the heart, and they check the heart. He goes, an MRA is an advanced angiogram / CAT scan. I don't know what he's talking about. But he says they probably don't even have the software to run this shit in Florida. He goes, I was just curious, because it's something I need to run. And he wants to run all these tests. So I tell him, I'm sorry, Dr. Dugali, this, that. He gives me a half a look. He goes, no problem. Whoever he told, get him the most recent pictures. I said, thank you. This way I get them off my back. Yeah, I understand. So now I go and I look to bring these pictures to Dr. Solomon.
Yeah.
Now, Uncle Angelo,
yeah,
who was very helpful, is waiting for me in his hot rod Mustang with the top down, and we're racing through Harlem. I have a 12 o'clock appointment with Dr. Solomon.
Yeah.
And I'm running late. We're in the middle of Harlem, screeching up, tires racing through the streets, and it's right near the GW Bridge. So when we get there, I run in, I'm a few minutes late. I said, I'm here to see Dr. Solomon. I got a shit ton I got old ones, the recent ones. I figured, let me bring everything. I'm sorry you can't go in. Dr. Solomon's gone for the day. No, you don't understand. He's waiting for me. I have friends of mine, know him very well, and he's waiting. So he goes, look, sir, she told you he's not seeing anyone. You don't understand. Take your hands off me.
He's waiting for me.
He's waiting for me. Get on the phone and call. Sir, you're going to have to leave. You're getting a little... Get your fucking hands off me. All of a sudden, walks out Dr. Solomon. He goes, you got to be Ron.
Yeah.
Everybody calm down.
Yeah.
Ron, come with me. It's all right.
That's right.
He whisked me away, and I went,
yeah.
So now, I'm sitting with him, and he's putting the pictures up, and he's looking. And he's giving me one of those, like, with some, and he seems concerned.
Sure.
He says, I have to tell you, I can see the concern just looking at the pictures. I'm going to shut this because my legs are burning from the sun. A little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as we still got the light in the stories.
Yeah, you're not getting blocked off. No. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We're good?
Yeah, we're golden.
Okay. So
continue.
So now, I'm sitting in his office, and he puts the pictures up, and you see the concern. He goes, where is she right now? And he says, and how did you find anyone? I said, I have her in NYU, a hospital for joint diseases, which is where Gloria Estefan had her back surgery. So I have her there. I said, but Dr. Solomon, if you'll take her, I will bring her right out. I'll bring her right here.
Mom was very confident potentially on Dr. Solomon.
Well, we both were because he was a recommendation from Dr. Kumela.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and Dugali was just out of the book.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
So, and the other 3 that we had, we couldn't even get them.
Yeah, sure.
Like they're booked and busy.
Yeah, sure.
And Dr. Dugali just happened to have an availability.
Crazy.
So now he's looking. He goes, well, who's taking care of her? I said, Jesus, wait a minute. And I pull out my wallet, and I open my wallet, and I pull out his card, and I give him the card. I said, Michael Dugali. He goes, Michael Dugali? Let me see that. So he takes the card. He goes, how did you get him? I said, my wife picked him out of a book. Watch the chair on the card.
I know.
Please.
I would not.
You picked him out of a book? He says, let me just tell you, do you know who he is? I said, I have no idea. He's a neurosurgeon in New York. He was at the top 20 people. We randomly picked 4 names, and we have you. I said, but I'll pull her right. He goes, listen to me. Let me set the tone here that you understand where you are and where you're at. I said, okay. He goes, if my daughter had your wife's problem, I would ask him to do her surgery, and I'm going to tell you why. He's one of 6 people in the country that does a procedure I don't even do. It's very new. He's famous. And he is, if you go to school to become a medical doctor and you want to be a neurosurgeon, the person in the bottom of the room around the cadaver, when they are, and the cranium,
practicing, is
Dr. Dugali, and he teaches neurosurgery. He is a professor, doctor of neurosurgery. So if you want to learn how to be a neurosurgeon, he's the one giving you instruction.
Holy shit.
And he's famous.
Yeah, for that.
No, not for that.
No.
So now I want to run back and tell Mom. So he says, here's my number. You call me anytime. It's my personal number. You need any advice. You couldn't be in better hands. If you got to fight this fight, you got the best person in your corner to do this.
Wow.
I got to tell my wife, this is great news.
Yeah.
I run back. I get in the room, and I just about get in the room to go, Roseanne, you're never going to believe. Ron! Here's Dr. Dugali.
Yeah.
I see you have the MRI. Did you get the answers you needed? Doc, thank you. It was very gracious of you.
Yeah.
You know, I took care of that. At least that part is over. I said, no, we're fine. He goes, he looks over at Mom, and he said something. I can't quote him exactly, but he said something like, you know, you're looking good today, Roseanne. You know why? I'm going to tell you one reason why you're looking good today. Because somewhere in you, you know I'm your doctor and I'm going to take care of you. And so, and she's looking at me and still does not know what's going on either. So he goes, I'm getting you a movie and popcorn. Kathy, bring that in, roll that VCR in. It was a VCR rolled in on a big cart. The TV's up about 5 feet in the air.
Right.
She says, what's going on? I said, Dr. Solomon, you're never going to believe. Hi, this is Barbara Walters, and I'm Hugh Downs, and this is 2020. She goes, what's going on? Today history was made. I said, let's just watch this. Because he said, I'm going to show you something. You're going to watch it, and you're going to love it. Telling you, I want you to watch this. And he rolled it in. So now, today history was made when a Dr. Michael Dugali and Orrin Davinsky performed wide-awake brain surgery on Andrew Cook from Staten Island, who, by the way, happens to be 8 years old. Andrew had a brain mass that kept him from playing sports. Every time he would play sports, this is on the TV we're watching.
Yeah.
Every time he would play sports, he would have seizures. So Andrew was limited to just holding up the scoreboard.
Sure.
That was his participation. He couldn't do anything else. And Dr. Dugali safely removed this mass in his head. He had what's called an arteriovenous malformation.
There it is again.
Removed it. And Andrew has gone on to play sports. He's very athletic. He plays baseball, football. No longer is he limited to just, holding the sign. Okay. She says, God almighty, Ron, he's famous. Yes. You couldn't be in better hands, Dr. Solomon said. So find some comfort in that.
Yeah,
relax.
Yeah.
That's a big
And
deal.
at this point, Mom, her understanding of what she had, was she up to date with the fact that it was a glioblastoma in their minds? And
she goes, I'm not ready to die.
Yeah, and her mindset at this point was
she's
strong.
Oh, forget about it. Stronger than mine.
Okay.
So now, he weans her off the Decadron.
Yeah.
The morning comes of surgery. Surgery was to be done around 6 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. The OR is in the basement of the hospital. So he comes into the room. I'm sitting there with Pop, me, and Mom. And he comes in the room around 3:30, 3:45 in the morning.
Right.
And he says, hey, Roseanne. Hey, everybody. He goes, I want to tell you something. Now, I'm not going to try to quote him because I may be saying it wrong. But there was some kind of a test he ran that you could tell. He said it this way, to my recollection. Now, this is 1993.
Right.
This is 23.
30 years.
30 years ago.
Right.
But there are some things that just
stick.
He said, I want you to go into this hopeful. Because let me tell you what I found out. Remember I asked you about an MRA? Yes. Okay. He said, let me explain this to you. When a tumor ends up in your head, a malignant tumor, glioblastomas don't always start there. You can have a tumor in your stomach, your ovary, your lung, and a little piece breaks off, and you have 2 carotid arteries. It travels through the bloodstream, lodges. Now, I don't know if he explained it exactly that way, but that was my layman's way of getting it.
Sure, right.
He said, and then it attaches and begins to grow.
Wow.
I did a chest x-ray. You have nothing. I did a stomach x-ray. I checked your ovaries. I checked everything I could possibly check to see if you have anything anywhere else in your body.
Right.
Then we did a tumor blush scan.
Sure.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That is the way he says, you know how a shooting star leaves a trail?
Yeah.
There's a way to track
a tumor.
The direction
of a tumor
it took
to get to your brain.
To get there.
Yeah.
And I'm like blown away by all this shit.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's science shit.
I'm like, oh my God. And he goes, clear. He goes, I'm hoping that it might be an arteriovenous malformation, which is a vessel with a weak wall. You banged your head, you caused it to bleed. He goes, but I want to tell you, if it is an AVM and it bled and it led you here, it's a means to saving your life, because it could have burst and hemorrhaged and it would have instantly killed you.
Right.
So he goes, now we're going into surgery in a couple of hours. I want you to feel confident. You're going to be wide awake. We're going to talk. And the thought of Mom having to undergo having her head sawed open.
Wide awake.
Well, I have to elaborate on this because people need to get the gravity of what actually happened. We're downstairs. We're outside the operating room. Nurse comes out, and super wonderful people. They looked at Mom like, she's so young and beautiful.
Yeah.
What a shame that this girl's going through this.
Of course.
Well, they all had empathy for Mom.
Of course.
Which made me like them all.
Right.
So, comes out, she says, I just want to bring her in. I got to prep her. We're going to have to shave your head now, honey. And I'll bring her right back out. They shave Mom's head, and they put a little beanie with a knot, like when babies are born.
Right.
And she's sitting, and I'm looking at her. And I'm
Yes.
crying.
Of course.
And she's going, Ron, you got to be strong. I says, it's not that I'm not strong, Roseanne. I'm not crying because I'm giving up on you. I'm not crying because I'm crying because I can't get on the table and do this for you. It bothers me that you have to go in there and I can't even hold your hand to say, I'm right here. Don't worry, I'm right here.
Right.
It's not like somebody bothered you in the supermarket. I can handle that. I feel so helpless, I can't do anything. I said, and I just don't want you to have to go through this. I wish I could do this for you. I so wish.
Right.
She goes, you just go to church where we were married and just pray for me while I'm in there.
Okay.
I said, okay. She goes, and drive careful. Don't make me be in there because I'm going to be awake. I don't need to worry. Wear your seatbelt.
Still worried about you. She's about to have 7-hour wide-awake brain surgery, but she's worried about you driving to the church.
This is what she tells me.
Yeah.
So, with that,
Oh, man.
I go, okay. Now, they come out, and they say, we have to take her in now. And I look at her, and she looks at me, and I hugged her, and they took her in, and I had to cover my mouth so you couldn't hear me sob.
Right.
Because I didn't want her
To hear you weak or crying.
to think it weak or
Yeah.
that I've given up on her.
Right.
And I'm holding my mouth because I can't control it.
Yeah.
I never have been out of control
Yeah.
with anything.
Yeah.
I had no control right now.
Yeah.
I'm on the floor, leaning on the wall like a duck squat. Here comes Dr. Dugali. And he walks in. There's some paper towel there, Ron. Would you get it?
Yeah. Keep going.
And he walks in, and he's ready to walk in the room. And we had just seen him a couple of hours sooner. Thank you. So, I'm sorry.
This is real. No, it's okay. Don't apologize. This is as real as it gets.
So he walks in, and he says, Ronald, and he sees me. I'm on the floor.
Right.
I'm literally like I was squatting.
Yeah, against the wall.
And I'm leaning on the wall like this.
Yeah.
So he goes, listen to me. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. You, the two of you, have a special place in me. First of all, I seen the car you came in. You're pretty brave. I said, leave my car alone, Doc.
What was it?
It was the old Ford Fairmont.
Oh, right. Okay.
He said, and the fact that you ripped out the back seat, the way you brought your wife here, and the whole hospital is talking about this. He goes, I am going to do everything I know in this world to get a good outcome. Now, I know your wedding anniversary is August 20th. It's in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I would love nothing more than to give you all the gift of a long life. I said, you need to know something. No matter what happens, Roseanne and I are thrilled that we got to meet you. We love the fact that you care this way, and we feel it from you. We will never be sorry. So let God guide you, and let it be what it will be.
Yeah.
But you need to know that going in, that
Right.
we care about you and feel very blessed that you're here.
Yeah.
I know you can only do what's earthly possible.
Right.
I don't expect anything beyond that unless God steps in. So thank you. He goes, I need you to go wherever you're going to go for 7 hours.
Wow.
And come back. Okay. He goes in. Now, Mom's in there, they're prepping her. What Mom actually went through, now I go to the car.
Yeah.
I've never been shaken up to where I couldn't drive or I had to gather myself.
Right.
Even in the most emotional time, but I was like so drained and exhausted and mentally. I sat in the car crying, thinking of Mom. They had to give her shots in her head to numb her scalp. Then they had to cut her from the front of her ear up to the middle of her head, down the back to the nape of her neck, and peel all that off and hang it on her shoulder. Then they had to saw open her skull while she was awake with a saw. And knowing that this poor girl is going through this is killing me. So now I'm going to go to the church to find the priest who married us. His name is Father Gelando.
Right.
And he's the priest who actually helped me get my annulment from Lisa.
Right. Okay.
Well, I go to the church and the doors are locked. I can't get in. And I run around to the rectory. I have to get into church. I got to see Father Gelando. I need him right now more than ever. And I have to get in. If for nothing more, I promised my wife I'd pray. And if I got to kneel on the church stairs at these wooden doors,
that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to pray.
Yeah.
I go in the rectory and I see a lady sitting there and I go, excuse me, I'm so-and-so. Yes. They gave mass for Roseanne this morning. Everyone knew.
Wow.
Everywhere I went, everyone knew.
Wow.
So now, she goes, I said, I'm here to see Father Gelando.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, he just left for Long Island. But do you know Father Monsignor Finaro? I said, no. She goes, well, he was supposed to go with Father Gelando to Long Island, but a lady came at the very last minute to talk to him. She was very emotional. So Father Gelando went on ahead and he stayed behind to console this lady. And he's sitting right now on the dais with her.
Wow.
You can go through the back, come out on the altar, and then wait for him.
Yeah.
I said, fine. So I walk out. He hears footsteps. He turns. He's like facing, you're the lady, I'm the priest.
Yeah.
I'm coming from over his shoulder.
Okay.
He turns and he says, can I help you? I said, my name is Ron Marvo. He goes, yes, we gave mass for Roseanne this morning. Please sit down, I'll be with you in a few minutes. And he's holding the lady's hand and she's crying. Now I go sit in the pew where I waited for Mom to walk down the aisle.
Right.
He's still talking, she's crying, he's holding her hand. I get up. Now I decide I'm going to barter my years with Jesus, the Blessed Mother, all the saints. Look, if you're going to let me live this long, give her my years and just give me a little time with my kids so they get to know my name.
Yeah.
Really get to know me. Because 3 years old, you remember stuff, but you don't.
They don't know.
You don't,
Yeah.
when you're 7, just let me,
10.
So
you're
and please, but if you need me now,
take me.
I'll never say goodbye to any of them. I'll drop me dead right here and take me with you, and I'll serve you. If I can't come to heaven, because I have penance, then you put me at the gates of hell and I won't let anybody out. I will work for you, please. And this is my prayer to every saint I go around. Now I go back. He's finishing up with the lady. He finishes with her. She comes by me and she puts her hand on my shoulder.
Right.
And she tells me, whatever you do, don't lose hope and don't lose your faith.
Wow.
Be brave. I said, thank you. I hope whatever you're going through works out for you. I wish you nothing but blessings.
Right.
You too. She leaves. Expecting him to come on up. I turn. His back is to me. He's looking up at the cross and he's talking to God on the cross. And I see his hands going and he's like, wow. And I go, oh no, I don't need
Because
this.
you were religious, but he was a little too much.
There's something not right with
He's
this guy.
a little nut.
He might be a nut job. He might have picked a worthy and a wealth, caring. He may be the most caring soul, but he's not normal. Please, I don't need this now.
Yeah, right?
And I actually really didn't think. I thought something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Ronald,
Turns around.
come on up.
Yeah.
Sit down. So now we're sitting just like you and I, except you are me and I'm the priest.
Right.
He goes, let me ask you, Ronald, how's your faith? I said, wow, I've been through a lot in my life. I don't know. I only know that whatever faith, look, they say God knows your heart. So if I were to lie and tell you, all the way, and God would know I was full of baloney. So I can only put it to you this way. I've had a lot of bad things happen in life. I've seen a lot of stuff. My mom's been victimized. Me and my sister, we've gone through a lot.
Right.
Was stabbed with a screwdriver when I was younger. Shot at. Not that they were shooting at me. I was in the middle of a gunfight and I had a duck. And I'm fortunate I'm here. But I have to tell you, if my wife dies today, even though I have two beautiful children, my fate's going to go right out that window.
Right.
I don't want to hear bad things happen to good people. I don't want to hear all the rationale. I don't want to hear it. God needs help. Come right now. Stop my heart dead and let me go.
Yeah, don't give me all the rationale.
But I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
She shouldn't. She needs to stay with the kids, and she needs to be the mother she can be. I don't know how I would have done it without my mom. I never had a father, so I can't gauge that.
Right.
He says,
Sure.
do you have a picture of Roseanne? So I go in my wallet. Now in my wallet, I had a wad of St. Jude cards.
Yeah.
He goes, whoa, St. Jude, what are you doing with all those cards? I said, well, when I was in Florida, I was near the emergency room. The chapel was right near the emergency room.
Sure.
And I hear a lady wailing, my son is laying a motorcycle accident, oh my God. I'd hand her a card. And when I heard people in distress, I would hand them a card because when I read it, it did calm me to some degree. I was hoping that my deepest prayer would be heard because St. Jude was delivering it personally. And I was hoping for this. He goes, well, it's a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why so? He said, because the deal with St. Jude is, when your prayer has been answered, you are to acknowledge him in writing. If you'll look in a newspaper, almost every day you will see someone, thank you to St. Jude for saving my brother's life, thank you to St. Jude for saving my dog, and so on.
Right.
But here you are, you didn't get your answer, but you're giving out cards, and maybe you got more faith than you even know.
Great point.
I said, maybe. He goes, where is Roseanne having her surgery? I said, NYU. He goes, where on her body? I said, they call it the left hemisphere parietal lobe. And he says, that's just above the left ear. So I looked at him. I said, yeah, it is. He says, there's a couple words that have always stuck with me in life for a long time now. Miraculous and fountain. I said, you're talking about Lourdes? Oh, you know about Lourdes? I said, yeah, the blind see, the crippled walk, sometimes the power of suggestion, sometimes miracles. Sure. They say people have gone there and they have witnessed amazing things. He goes, well, I go there every year for the past 15 years.
Wow.
He goes, you believe in coincidence? You believe in preordained things? I said, coincidence, not so much, but things I believe sometimes are not so coincidental. Sometimes it might be a bigger plan than we know.
More than what meets the eye and what we can perceive.
I don't know.
Right.
I said, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Right.
So he goes, well, what did they say? I said, they believe she may have a glioblastoma, but we're hoping it's an AVM cloaked as a glioblastoma. He goes, that's what she has. I said, excuse me?
You're so certain.
He says, that's what she has. He said, let me explain something to you. Miraculous fountain. Those words came to me 15 years ago. He says, are you a squeamish man? I said, in what way? Blood, things like that bother you? I said, no. For instance, if you got hurt, you were severely injured, I put a tourniquet on you. I'll rip you my pants off, my t-shirt, I'll wrap you up.
Yeah.
I'll cry later.
Yeah, sure.
But no, I jump into action.
Right.
I'm a man of action. So he goes, give me your hand. So I give him my right hand, where you are. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting about this far with me.
Yeah.
And he goes, touch me where your wife is having her surgery.
Yep.
So he puts his hand on I put my hand on his head.
Yeah.
And he has a big concave hole. Now, Monsignor Fenaro,
So the skull was missing.
looked like a red-headed Irish guy.
Right.
Bushy red hair like Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
And I was taken by surprise. I went, wow.
Of course.
What? He said 15 years ago, they thought I had a glioblastoma. They cut my head open. And when they cut it, the pressure that released gushed like a fountain, the doctor said. And it was miraculous I survived. So every year since then, I go to Lourdes and I bring water. He says, and I have water for you.
Whoa.
He says, I want you to go back. You're going to see your wife. I want you to go back and I want you to anoint her with the water. He goes, but let me ask you something else. G? I said, what did you say?
Whoa. He said grandma's G.
G? Did you eat?
It's G, yeah. He said he said it.
I went, you sound just like my mother.
Wow.
My mom, if I said, Ma, this is, let's see, G?
Yeah.
So I said, no. He goes, come with me. We're going to go to the rectory. We'll find something. I don't know what we have, but we'll find something.
Sure.
So he says, I want you to feel better a little bit. She's going to be okay. So you need to eat some. So he goes, all I have is peanut butter and jelly. I said, whatever you're having is good with me, Father. What do I call you? Do I call you Father, Monsignor? It's whatever you want.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So he has a Smucker's jar with just a little jelly left. So we have the peanut butter and jelly, and he finishes off the jelly. He says, you're going to have to forgive me. I don't have a holy water bottle. So I'm going to give you the water in this jelly jar. but you take this jar to her and you anoint her head.
Right.
You're going to look in her eyes, you anoint her head. Don't worry. I said, okay. So he goes, now I got to get to Long Island.
It's almost like
he goes, tell the truth. When I was looking up and talking to the cross, you thought there was something wrong with me, right? I said, I didn't know.
Wow, he called you out.
He says, I said, I don't know. I was a little taken by that. Like, what were you talking about?
Like
he goes, I'm going to tell you. He goes, I looked up. He goes, and I wondered if God sent that lady. Was she up there? Did he say, like, you saw A Wonderful Life?
Yeah.
Clarence?
Yeah.
Well, there's a man down on earth who needs your help. He's thinking of giving away God's greatest gift. So maybe he sent her to keep me here late enough to meet you.
Yeah.
And maybe these are divine things working.
Right.
He said, I don't know, but I was wondering that when I was looking up. Is that what you did? Because this guy was running late and you know I was ready to get up and get out of the chair, so you sent this angel. Fly down there, keep him there. We got a guy coming who needs to see him.
Yep.
And I'm like going like, and I'm starting, we're laughing.
Sure. Yeah,
And
it's crazy. I said,
who knows, Father, I don't, Monsignor, I don't know. He goes, well, I got to get going. Where are you going to go now? I said, I'm going to get my head shaved. And I had some hair then. And we're almost through. And I go to Mr. Bruno. And I tell him, shave my head. So Monsignor Fernando says, why are you going to shave your head? I said, if my wife's going to be bald, I'm going to be bald with her.
Right, yeah.
So I was going to get matching baseball caps. I didn't have time. I get my head shaved. Bruno looks at me, what are you doing? You never shave your head. Shave my head. He knows nothing what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
So when I shave my head, I go back to the hospital. I'm going to try to get through this.
That's okay. You're good.
The longest 11-floor ride in an elevator I ever took. And it stopped at every floor.
Yeah.
Now I have to go to 11.
Oh, God.
I get the doors open. All I see is Pop. That's Roseanne's dad, hanging on the payphone. Sobbing. Oh my God, Rosemary, oh my God. And I grabbed I was afraid to ask him to turn around. I was afraid what I was going to hear. Priest was wrong. She's gone. And I said, Dad. And he turned around and he said, Ronnie, it's a miracle, Ronnie. I said, where is she? He said, she's down the end of the hall. I said, and I'm running Roseanne, and she's waving. The last bed on the left.
Wow.
Everybody's crying. I'm looking at people. I'm crying, Roseanne. And I finally collapse in Mom's lap on the bed. And I'm just crying in the lap. So grateful
Incredible.
that she's still in the world.
Insane.
Now,
Nothing short of a miracle.
now Dr. Dugali comes out.
Yeah.
He says, Ronald. I said, look at me.
Excuse me.
I don't know how I'm going to pay you. I'm going to get you paid. I said, but I want you to know something. Wherever you are in this world, I'll come. I'll show up. If you need a body part, all you need to do is ask me to jump on the table. You kill me. You take it for your family, for what you did.
Right.
You gave my kids their mother. And I'm ready. From now on, I got all the answers I need. He says, I said, but I'll find a way to pay you. He goes, Ron, I have all the money I could ever want. He goes, I want you to go downstairs. I don't remember her name. Susie or Kathy.
Right.
He goes, and I want you to go down and I want you to see Susie. She's going to ask you to sign some papers. Don't worry about money. Just go see her. Please go now, because she's going to be leaving in a little while. Okay. I go down. I said, hi, I'm Ron Marvo. Oh, we're so happy. Everybody in the hospital knew about your mother.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody.
Jeez.
We're so happy. We're so happy that with the good news, everything, it's just so, everybody's walking around with a light step. Everybody, it inspired everybody.
Of course.
I said, thank you so much. Dr. Dugali wants you to fill these out. I said, what are they? She goes, he's decided he's gonna do this for Medicaid. I said, wait a minute. Fernando?
Yeah.
I went, you mean this? Oh, you already have it. Fantastic. I gave her the card. I think they gave him $3,800 for an over $800,000 surgery.
Wow.
And that is the story about Back from the Dark.
Yeah.
Which she wanted me to write a book, but
yeah, and
I suck at that.
Well, that's just, it's okay, because
So
we get to do this.
Yeah. So now we leave.
Yeah.
We have a future. Mom had staples in her head.
Yeah.
And
so
you would have told me I'd be out in New Jersey 27 years later.
And to round out this episode, really, there's just a couple other questions I have for you.
Go.
And really, like, Mom being the precedent, of course, that, of this episode, truly, and just
she's the.
But it's also what made me decide, outside of you being my dad, it has nothing to do with that, honestly. But from the Great American Underdog standpoint, of my definition of that is obviously living in the beautiful country we live in, but underdogs, of someone that's able to overcome extreme obstacles throughout their life. And you have consistently shown that skill, that divine intervention, the guardian angel piece. You've been the guardian angel for people in your life. And I would just want to ask you, what would you say to people in the world that may feel like the underdog of their own story, that might be losing faith or hope in the positive in the world? What would you say to other people that might be facing similar or worse obstacles that you have been through? And how would you help them get over that if you were to give them one piece of advice?
I would tell them what I wrote many, many years ago before Mom ever got sick. Know in your heart, know what you know. Know who you are, never let go. Never surrender, never give in, never give up. That's how you win. Hold on.
Yeah.
Never let go. Hold on. Just fight.
Yeah.
Never lay down. Just, let me tell you, I watched Stallone deliver the speech to his son
In Rocky?
in one of the Rocky
6,
movies.
where you just keep moving forward. You need to knock down.
How much you can take, and that's how winning gets done.
Amen.
And you don't stop. I don't give a shit if you bleed. Get up.
Yeah.
And then I hear dun 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 dun. Get up. This is Mickey.
Yeah.
And he loves you. Get up.
Right.
And fight.
So then, to round out the conversation now after that answer.
And I believe there is divine intervention. This place didn't just happen.
Yeah. All this, I know.
I believe it's bigger.
It's bigger picture than what we could say. What would you say today? What's your at this stage of your life? What's your motivator? What's your driver? Obviously things are a bit easier in life, thank God. We have a lot of blessings.
I've done well.
And,
I mean, I'm not rich, but
that's okay. We're not talking about money. We're talking about just like, really what drives you today more than anything at this point.
You, your sister, your mother.
Right.
You've always been my driving force.
Yeah.
Because I've always felt that I just wanted you. I wanted to be, my driving force was, I wanted to show you when you're out in the world, you're going to be constantly confronted with bullshit and liars. And I want to reaffirm that there are certain people in the world that will never lie to you, always be honest, tell you the truth, love you more than anything. And people like that exist.
Right.
And they might be looking right at you right now in another place. Some guy, like I think of Dave, and I feel so bad what he's gone through. And I think of some of your friends. They call me Faja.
Yeah.
I would run for any of them because I remember them as little boys. I liked that they were loyal to you as friends.
Right.
And it made me love them.
Sure.
And I think, I used to tell Mom, I've had so many fights with so many friends of mine through the years. I said, when I die, the funeral parlor is going to be empty. I said, but I think that there might be more people to see me off than I could possibly believe.
Well, I believe that 100%.
And most of them will be you and your sister's connections that knew me and that played in our backyard.
You're so loved by so many people, Dad, honestly, regardless that you're my father.
I know. I felt that at my surprise
and that's because
birthday party.
And that's I feel because you are, like Wayne said, Uncle Wayne said, you're an inspiration to him and you always have been. He didn't view you as an underdog.
I was blown away by
But the
that.
premise of this podcast, folks, as we round out this episode here, this is episode 1 with none other than Ron Marvo Sr., my beloved father, one of my heroes, if not my main hero, always and forever.
Thank you.
But
I got to tell you, what an
it's
honor it
been
is to
great.
hear you say that. Not to patronize you.
No, I don't think you're
But
patronizing me.
I think
likewise.
every father in the world, when you gave your speech for me at
Your birthday
my
party?
birthday,
Yeah.
I've always told my children, if kids were sold on a shelf
Yup.
in a store, I would go back to that store. You know how you find a cookie you like, you go back, you buy another.
You buy the same.
You want the same one.
Yeah.
I would buy them all over again. And my son gave me the honor of my daughter of giving me a beautiful party and telling me that they would do the same when it came to me, because I would constantly ask, how am I doing? Because I never had anything to emulate. I didn't know. I didn't have a father, although I must say that Sam, and even Pop toward the end, we got closer. But Sam was the most fatherly person I ever knew.
Right.
Even when Lisa and I would fight,
Sure.
he would understand and he would talk with me, and not as her father. He would talk with me as someone who loved me.
Right.
And I always got that from him. And it was the only father kind of thing I ever really.
So kind of
But
bringing that back.
People don't. There's sayings, adages. It's always darkest before dawn.
Right.
It's going to get dark, and it can get very dark. The sun will come out tomorrow, like the play,
Yeah.
And it's a new day.
You just gotta keep persevering.
You gotta push forward. You gotta push. You can't lay down, because like they say, there's that all the cards. Don't quit, because you quit now, just around the corner might be the answer you sought.
Sure.
That was the one thing that but through all the events, I never thought I would be here. I mean, in 1983, I came in second place racing my motorcycle at Englishtown. I sat, Denny's is how far from here.
Yeah, we were saying it earlier. Yeah.
I sat in Denny's parking lot with my trophy whoever would have thought I'd be living around the corner from that moment to this moment, mowing my grass with my tractor
and seeing your kids grown up, you have beautiful grandchildren.
I'm just, yeah. I have to, that's another thing. That's another thing. Very fearful to have children. I was afraid, would I get you through? I was afraid, will I be right? Will I do it the right way? Will my yelling when I was disciplining you guys have a negative impact? You made it easy. The way you and your sister have moved forward. You gave me peace. Where other kids drive their parents insane.
I thank you, and that I appreciate.
You
that.
really did.
This
You
episode
really
is
did.
definitely been about you, but
I couldn't ask for more.
Well, that we're coming up on the end here. I just have to ask you: is there any closing comments?
You can't ride my scooter.
I can't ride your
so
scooter.
I'll give you the car.
Is there any closing thoughts from one great American underdog and inspiration who's persevered to any of the other underdogs out there as we close out?
Yeah, like I said before, hold on, don't quit, keep fighting. And I have to say, just to be called a great American underdog, it's such an honor to hear you say that about me. Because I don't think it was me. I just think it was God.
I appreciate your humility, but it definitely was you in a lot of ways, and I love you, and I'm forever grateful for you.
I love you.
Love you too. This has been the first episode ever of Great American Underdog. We will have Marvo Sr. back here again with some window of wisdom, adages, and phrases, which is always recommended. And if you don't currently subscribe or found this episode interesting, please subscribe to this channel, like, comment, share any of your thoughts. We'd be glad to hear it. We always respond. Once again, this has been the Great American Underdog, and everybody loves an underdog.